This is the Twin Butte Mine EC0111. This is an upper adit. It's not shown on the map. It's about 300 feet approximately east and uphill of the main adit at the Twin Butte Mine. We'll go down and look at it. This is a very small, completely caved adit. It's no water running out of it. Looks like there has been at a time, but it doesn't have anything now. It's got a small dump. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll go down to the primary adit, which will be adit number 2 for the Twin Butte. We're on the lip of the dump for the upper adit at the Twin Butte Mine. That you can kind of get an idea of how steep the hill is. We're looking approximately west right now, kind of down the slope at the face of the dump itself. We'll get down below and shoot back up to the east and get a kind of perspective of how much material there really is here. It's only about 30 feet from the portal out to the lip, and it's maybe 20 feet wide at the most. But it's fairly small dump, but on a steep hill it kind of covers a lot of ground. We'll go down and look at it from below. Here we're looking west or east up the hill at the dump from the upper portal on the Twin Butte Mine. You can see pretty much where the rock disappears there. At the top of the picture is the top of the dump. It's not really that significant. You get a kind of a perspective of how really big it is. But this will be all for the upper adit at the Twin Butte Mine. We'll look at the primary one, adit 2, in just a minute. This is the cave portal for the Twin Buttes Mine. It's the second portal we've looked at. It's about 300 feet to the west of the upper one that we looked at, west and downhill a bit. The dump is quite a bit larger than the other one. I believe this is the one that's shown on the map as the Twin Butte Mine. As you can see, it's completely collapsed. There's no timbers or anything visible in the view. Actually very difficult to even tell in the picture here that this is it, but I believe this is where the dump originates from, coming out and going parallel to the hill. And we'll look at that here in a minute. Here we're looking north down the dump away from the portal. We're standing just about outside where the portal was on the dump. We're looking, like I said, essentially straight north. My pack's about 25 feet from the portal, and then it goes on about another 75 feet. It just goes right along the hill, and the dump, it's fairly narrow, only about 10 feet wide, but then the dump falls off the hill downhill. You can see it going off down that way. We'll try to get a better view of that. It's fairly good size, like I said, 100 feet long, but it's not very wide, and it does go down the fairly steep slope quite a long ways. We'll get a view of that in a minute. Here we're looking back towards the portal of the second adit that we are doing at the Twin Buttes Mine, EC0111. This is a wood structure that was built right outside the portal. Can't really tell what it was, some kind of a framework there. Maybe just for hill support. And it's just, like I said, right outside the portal. It's nearly completely collapsed. And we'll take a look at the slope on the dump now. we're looking back to the south along the crest of the dump. You can see it's fairly narrow, 10 feet wide. Maybe it widens as much as 15, but it averages 10 or so. And you can see the dump falls off the side of the hill. For this 100 feet length of the dump, it falls off quite a ways down, maybe 40 or 50 feet down the slope. And it just pretty much what we can see here going to the south back in that area there. That's about as far as the dump goes. That's essentially right outside the portal itself, and then it just came along the slope and then dumped off the side as it came along here. Well, this will be it for the number 2 adit, the primary adit for the Twin Buttes mine. There's another stockpile off over to the south of us. We'll go look at that. This is what I believe is an ore stockpile from the Twin Buttes mine. It's about 40 or 50 feet to the south of the number 2 adit, or the primary adit for the Twin Butte mine. It has an ore chute that loaded up, it looked like, into a tramway. We're looking at some of the woodworking right at the head of the ore chute. We'll go down and look at the loading chute or ore chute from below here and see the pulley system and the cables that ran the tram. I believe it ran it down the hill about 600 vertical feet to a mill that we'll look at later. Here we're just below, to the west of that, what I perceive as an ore stockpile. This is a loading chute, ore chute, that went down, and there's a set of double cables that go quite a ways down the hill. I traced it most of the way down to a mill that's right almost on the road that comes up from Old Oro Grande. It about 600 vertical feet down to the mill. I believe there was a tram system that got the ore down to the mill. We'll look at that when we get there. But you can see the pulley system, see the brakes on the hoist set up there, and the framework is pretty well falling apart, but it's still pretty plain as to what went on here. They just took the ore from the Twin Butte mine and loaded it onto the tram and ran it downhill to the mill. We'll go down and look at the mill now, which basically straight down the hill, down the fall line of the hill, at the bottom, just about at the road that comes up from Old Oro Grande. This is a bit more of the tram system. It's about 100 feet downhill from that loading chute we just looked at. You can see the 2 cables here very clearly. Some of the framework is still intact, although falling down to a great extent. Like I said, we're 100 feet or so down the slope, and this kind of gives an indication of what they did here. The cable does go, as far as I could trace it, most of the way down to the mill. This will be it for the tramway, and we'll look at the mill next. What we're looking at here is a small prospect. It's to the west of the Twin Butte mine. It's the prospect symbol is shown on the topo map. It's not terribly significant. It's I'm on the lower side lip. It's about 6 or 8 feet deep at this point. It goes up into a rock slide above. It's maybe 15-20 feet back there on the slopes. Not a terribly significant one. I'm just viewing it to complete the the prospecting in this area. We'll go down and look at the mill that was for the Twin Butte mine now. This is a mill site that's directly west of the Twin Butte mine, downhill. It's along the road that goes south from Old Oro Grande. It's about 1.25 miles from Old Oro Grande. It's on road 311. We're looking at the collapsed structure here. There's a little bit of a road, and it comes up off the main road, and a rock platform there. We'll get a little better view of it. But this is what the mill at the tramway brought ore down from the Twin Butte mine, ended up here. We'll get a little better view up on right on the platform by the mill. This is another view of the collapsed mill site. We're looking basically straight north right here. It works its way to the east uphill. The wood structure goes up quite a ways. It's hard to see where the tramway came down to, but it's just basically out of sight in the trees there where the cables come down. Again, the mill building here is completely collapsed. All the old lumber laying around. We'll get another view looking straight up the hill at it, just straight to the east from the main Oro Grande Road. Here we're looking at the base of the mill. We're looking basically right east, right straight up the hill at where the collapsed structure is. I believe this area the flat right above the road, or right at the same level as the road, is where the tailings are. It's difficult to say. I took a sample in a pit I dug about a foot and a half deep here, and just to see if that was tailings or not. I don't feel very comfortable with calling them tailings. There's got to be tailings somewhere here, but I have a hard time identifying it. Across the road towards the creek behind me to the west is another big flat, but it's so deep with organics. I dug over there and I couldn't find what I felt was tailings. It's a nice flat area that looks, it's potentially a tailings area, but I could not get any material that I thought was tailings. So this will be it for the mill building that's west of the Twin Butte mine. It's site EC0111.